Hey, brother.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good.
Good to see you. Awesome.
So what I thought might be of some value for the men of MPB is to talk a little bit about athletics. And, you know, as I reflect back on, you know, growing up, athletics was just a big part of my life, my wife's life, my parents. And so as an athlete and then as a parent of athletes, you know, I reflect and look back, and it's such an opportunity to glorify God, to grow, and yet it's got a zillion pitfalls, and it's got temptations that make us, as whether we are the athlete or we're the parent of an athlete, just behave in bad ways. And I thought maybe, you know, kind of reflect, and I know that you had an athletic background and continue to be a big sports fan, and you talk about it in Mass, about the importance we place at times on athletics with the passion and, you know, the fanaticism. And yet there are some really positive things if handled well.
Yep.
So I thought maybe
great topic. So Tom Baston and I were talking a little bit about trying to come up with a map for life, you know, like some different things that we can keep in mind for how to grow as a man, and one of the things that actually I would put into that map for life for a lot of guys would be to be careful not to worship at the altar of sports. So this is such a complicated topic because the beauty of athletics, amongst the many beauties of athletics, so you learn discipline, teamwork, sacrifice, hard work, something which in and of itself is a good. Like, why do I play sports? For the game, right? So it's actually, there's a great Jesuit priest, older guy named James Shaw, who uses athletics actually as the easiest way to help men understand what heaven might be like, in a sense, like a great game, playing in a great game, even watching a great game. If I could get lost in that somehow and just watch that forever, like I'm watching something that's beautiful and that's engaging and that's enthralling me. He uses that as an image of what heaven could be like. I'm contemplating something if I'm watching it. And I've always found that really helpful. Like, it's a good in and of itself. It brings great joy to me. And I don't do it for the sake of something else. I just do it for its own sake. And that's what heaven's like in a lot of ways. And yet, despite all those great things, it's amazing how often athletics becomes a means by which my life becomes subject to it. So it becomes an idol and a god. Notice you weren't at church Sunday. Yeah, I had a game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the first thing to go, right? I'm increasingly talking to moms and dads, especially in summertime, you know, like, hey, how's the summer? Man, I got to get the kids back to school. Why? Travel baseball is just killing us. I mean, so like my 9-year-old is in a travel baseball league, and we don't have a weekend at home.
55 games, yeah.
And so you're kind of going, is that really how we should be living? I mean, I talk to a lot of 9-year-olds by the time they're 17 and they can't stay in the game anymore. And he's probably not going to play in the majors anyway. Right?
There's a chance, yeah.
But probably not. So, I mean, I think it's something for a lot of us. We want to use it for all the right things we can, but we want to keep everything in its right context. You know? Yeah, I mean, those are the things I'd say immediately about it.
So I reflect, and I'm, you know, there's moments of just embarrassment personally, and there's moments of that felt pretty good. And, you know, the times, and I reflect, I remember, you know, trying to determine what school are my kids going to go to, and so I went to a CC Brother Rice soccer game. So my older boy's a soccer player, and so they were in public school at the time, and so I get to the game, and game's ready to start, you do the Lord's Prayer. And I'm almost in tears thinking, this is a beautiful thing. And the national anthem, and wow, this is beautiful. 10 minutes into the game, there's an F-bomb fired out from that person I was just praying by.
Exactly.
The Lord's Prayer.
Right.
And, you know, it's something not right there. It's incongruent.
Right.
And you know, I've been on that side of, you know, so it's not like I choose the right all the time. And so, you know, especially with our you know, the MPB group with younger kids, and you know, there's just such beauty that can be there. And I'll give an example where I remember my son was, you know, with the team, and this is a college team, and they're on the road and they play on Sundays. And the team will travel on Saturdays sometime, and so I'd say, well, so what's your plan for Mass? I just don't think I'm going to get there. So I said, all right, well, we'll pick you up. You know, look, you know, I got my app.
Yep.
Masstimes.org. Right, exactly, there it is.
Yep.
Okay, all right, yeah. Well, then his assistant coach happens to be from Columbia, Catholic, and he said, you're going to Mass? Yeah. The one we picked was a Spanish-speaking Mass.
Perfect.
And it was perfect. Now, Sam speaks Spanish better than I do, so it kind of worked out. But it started a routine then that no matter where we are, and just so happened it was the best game of his season too. Now, coincidence?
Yeah, right.
Perhaps.
Right.
You know, and so I doubt it.
So let me say something about that, because I think that opens up an opportunity for guys to see. So like, I think it's increasingly important for men to think and to understand God places us in particular places at particular times for missions. So my son's on a soccer team. He's there to witness to what it means to live like an authentic man. And I'm there as his dad to do the same. And so there's this tremendous opportunity in the midst of a good thing, a game, but a culture which quickly gets skewed, right? For me, as a dad or as a young guy playing, to show what the beauty of this is really about. And then you do that, and it's going to provoke some people in a negative way, and it's going to provoke some other people, like the coach, in a positive way, and go, because inside he's like, I want to do that. You just gave him permission to be who he really is. That's what you did, right? And so to understand, like, whether I'm at work, whether I'm on a game, whether I'm in the stands, like, God put me here, so use me, Lord, in this place right now. And use me doesn't mean, you know, like, I'm going to quote scripture to you as we're sitting here in the stands, necessarily. It might just be people notice that I don't curse.
Or pray together as a team.
Yeah.
They started their own ritual, pray together as a team.
So if we can think about how do we use this culture, this athletic culture, in a way to teach young men and young women how to live authentic human life. And we can use it as a like a springboard to use examples from it to talk about how do you live as a disciple. I mean, Paul uses athletic imagery a number of times, right? One of my favorite passages, like, I'm not shadow boxing here. When I talk about disciplining myself, I am not hitting air. You know, running a race, everybody competes for a crown, only one wins, so run so as to win. So Paul uses athletic imagery because he gets the importance of training. I just got to make sure I understand what's most important. You know, so an athlete is someone who competes for a crown. That's what it technically kind of means. Good. What crown are you competing for?
For what? The question you've asked.
Exactly.
For what? Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, thanks.
All right.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks, brother.